Sairam, everyone. I think we are continuing to discuss free will. We have chosen the discourse, one discourse, and we are reading it. I think the paragraph which we were discussing before we closed last week relates to a paragraph where Swami had made a statement that Krishna may have been a Yadava, Rama may have been a Kshatriya, that Swami himself would have been a Kshatriya. People may say that, but the Atman is beyond the castes. That was where we left, and we had a lot of discussions because caste is always a problem. People find it troubling. And I think the word talks about, a Brahmana is karma Brahmana, is with your action, a person is becomes a Brahmana, and not necessarily the birth. I think that's where we discuss because I think I had personally mentioned that generally people want to be free. They feel the castes, the categorization in which we fall sometimes does not allow us to do such things, even to learn the Vedas or something like that. I think those were things which were discussed. And we all say, it's only your action which determines we are a Brahmana. So we are Brahmana, so we should be able to do that. This is a standard refrain by everyone. Everyone tends to argue like that. And I think one thing we should understand that it is our karma which determines our janma. If I am born in a particular caste, I have earned it. Whatever I may have done, I may not know. I have earned that merit to be born as a Brahmana, because the janma itself is determined by karma. We should understand that in the Sanatana Dharma, reincarnation, the theory of karma, all is entwined. So it is not for us to decide that my karma is Brahminical, so I should be a Brahmana. It is for the Lord to decide. And if we failed this time around to be born as a Brahmana, if we are striving for that, we don't need to. We have to work hard so that in our next janma we may become a Brahmana. So also a Brahmana should also retain their merit so they can be born as a Brahmana. But by that itself does not, just because you are born as a Brahmana, you don't necessarily become a Brahmana, because even in your karma, in your actions, in your thoughts, words, you have to be a Brahmana to really merit the name Brahmana. I can just give another, because there were a few questions on this, so I thought I will spend a few minutes. For example, let's take a doctor. A doctor is someone who gets licensed after, a period of study, maybe 6 years of study, and then they have to do the internship. They get trained, then they get specialized, and then they are licensed to practice as a doctor. I may have not gone through the medical system, but I can on my own learn about health, different treatments and so on. But that does not, I may be by knowledge, I may be able to have the knowledge of a doctor, but I cannot practice, and I should not practice. If I have to go again back to school and go through the same process. Just because I've read the same textbooks and mastered. But the thing is, then you can ask, why should you read? But the thing is, if I have read the textbooks a doctor reads, I may have enough knowledge to live my own life in a healthy way. That is what is the purpose of learning medicine. So also, just because a doctor has gone through school and licensed, the person naturally doesn't become a good doctor. The doctor has to practice the knowledge which they have learned. Only a few doctors will get the reputation as good doctors. Others may be doctors for namesake. They may prescribe and so on. But they are all striving. I am not denying that. But even to continue as a doctor, they will have continuous learning. They have to keep up with the developments and so on. So the same way, the caste system is that. If we are not born in a particular caste, it's okay. But Swami gives us the consolation that just because you're not born in a particular caste, don't get troubled by that. Because you also have the Atman, which is beyond all castes. And by getting in touch with that, everyone has equal right to reach the divine. That's where I think we left it off. So I thought I will just dwell on it a little more. I don't know if there are any questions, we can entertain them and then proceed. I hope I didn't create some new issue or concern. I thought I will just dwell a bit and speak about it, Saira. If there are no questions, Sister Kalyani, you could read on.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly say, you brought up the analogy of a doctor, and actually in India, the doctors, I don't know if things have changed now, don't have to do sort of recertification exams or maintain a certain number of educational credits necessarily, but in Canada and USA, you actually have to attend a certain number of conferences, certain number of educational credits or presentations or research. And in the US, every 10 years, you have to take the board exams again. So sometimes it's your children and the parent are taking the board exams again. So that's how much you have to kind of update yourself. And like you said, keep it and maintain it. I don't know much about the caste system, but I just wanted to add to the analogy you gave that yes, just because you were inducted into something doesn't mean it's permanent. You still have to work on it and maintain it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister. Thank you.
And if I could just ask another question about the caste system, because I read another discourse today where Swami was saying religion and the caste system are created by humans. So similarly to how, like Swami said in the Dharma Vahini, that what we think of as Dharma today is far from what the actual true meaning of it is. It's become I guess diluted or transformed that it's not even recognizable. Like, what about the caste system? Could it be the same? Like that maybe the Varna system that was actually given by God has, morphed and changed into something that's very diluted or, unrecognizable today. I don't know if like what does Swami think about the caste system as it is today?
So I think it's slightly, but I will answer the question. I hope if anyone else would like to answer also, you are free to answer. Swami, see in Bhagavad Gita and in Gita Vahini, Swami has said, the Lord has created the caste system, the Varna system. Okay, the Varnas are basically the 4 Varnas. But within the 4 Varnas, there are multiple castes created. If you take the Brahmana Varna, okay, we loosely use the term caste, but within the Brahmanical trade, or that section, there are multiple castes also, subcastes created by human beings. So I think Swami is referring to that because in the Gita, Swami has already stated that I have created the Varna system, that he has created. But just like religion, Swami will say, I have created the religion of love, which is called Sanatana Dharma. But within that, religions also created because they are subsystems of prayer, but which is all man-made. Because, each group will adapt something. But God created bhakti. The movement of bhakti itself is created and fostered by the Lord. But we come up with our own practices. So I think religion, though it comes from the foundation of devotion, we have come up with our own rules, regulations, which I think is necessary for any system of organization or congregation of people to follow, so that there's order. But we should realize that we should not forget the foundation, which is devotion to God, which is what Sanatana Dharma is all about. So that's my understanding. I shouldn't say that that's the right interpretation, but we can open it up. So the thing is, any of these systems undergo a deterioration over time. So that is why there's a need to refresh them, renew them, so that people's understanding is clear and there are no confusions. So Swami says, in the Dharma Vahini we are reading in the Tamil section, Swami says, if a tree has grown willy-nilly and you need to bring it back to shape, you don't cut the entire tree up. You basically see, how can I work with the tree, trim a few branches so that it grows in an orderly way. So that is the way it has to be looked after, rather than just destroying. So that's why when Swami came, Swami said, my task is to make a Christian a better Christian, a Muslim a better Muslim, a Hindu a better Hindu. He didn't come to just throw all these religions out the window. He basically said, you have a system, but many negative things have crept into it. Now we have to slowly remove them and clean it up, so that it becomes a beneficial system. I think that's what Swami has spoken in different languages. So when he says human creation, which is basically our own understanding and our own rules within that varna, is what humans have created. But Swami says the fundamental principles don't change, which basically bhakti, devotion, all good qualities. Swami has told each varna what they have to do. There's a very nice description of Swami in the Gita Vahini. But I think that's a separate discussion. I hope that answers your question. If anyone else has something to add or something different to say, please say.
So, Sairam brother, the most of the people, even though if we have different religion, they don't understand what is the difference between the religion and the spirituality. Religions morally talk about the surface. It's a shallow water. If we go into the deeper, but all the religions talking on only the same principle, the love. The most of the people never go into the deep and get the pearl. They always in the shallow water. They follow the culture only. They are not spending time, go deeper and enjoy the spirituality. Thank you, Brother Sairam.
Thank you very much, Brother Sairam. Anyone else would like to share something, please? If not, we can continue reading Sister Kalyani.
Today, people do not use words in their proper sense. For instance, the term hridaya, heart, is used as relating to the physical heart. But this is not the right meaning. Hridaya refers to the spiritual heart, which is common to all. It is present everywhere. It has no form. Like sugar in a variety of sweets with different forms, it is present in all beings as one and the same spirit. All differences are reflections of mental aberration. The divine makes no difference between one person and another. All differences of caste or community relate to worldly associations. Even to describe Brahma as a Kshatriya Krishna as a Yadava, and Sai Baba as a Kshatriya, is a sign of narrow-mindedness. The divine transcends such distinctions.
Thank you, sister. So this was the paragraph we discussed last, and I sort of discussed some of the points. If any one of you would like to share your thoughts or impressions, please do so. So I think it's okay to move on, Sister Kalyani.
We and God are one. In this vast cosmos, you must develop a universal outlook based on an understanding of the spiritual principle. You cannot aspire for the spiritual from a narrow point of view. All forms of worship and meditation, which are regarded as spiritual exercises, are in fact mental excursions intended to please the mind. God is described as father, mother, brother, friend, and so on. But all these are unnecessary epithets if it is recognized that we and God are one. If you are in God and God is in you, there is no room for the feeling of duality.
Thank you very much, sister. So, Swami wants us to correct our view of what this world is, I guess, in this. Swami is also dealing with spiritual practices, because we all may think that we are doing spiritual sadhana. And Swami says, actually, ultimately, they are all mental activities, limited to the mind, or to please the mind, so that we feel at peace that we are doing some sadhana. But he says, even to tell that God is father, mother, also it's also a human relationship, which we are sort of attributing to the Lord. And he wants us to transcend. Means it's not to give up, we should transcend. I think that there are two different things. And this may be a step towards that in that direction, but Swami wants us to rise above that also, or rise the fundamental, the meaning inherent in each of these practices, because without that, it becomes only a mental satisfaction only. I think that's what Swami is saying. So I will stop here. If anyone would like to share your thoughts, please go ahead.
Sairam.
Go ahead. It's okay, Anandi. Go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you. For me, maybe the middle sentence is little bit confusion to me. All forms of worship and meditation, which are regarded as spiritual exercises, are in fact mental excursions intended to please the mind. So Swami is telling that even though we think that worship and meditation, including meditation, those are highly regarded as these spiritual exercises, those are mental excursions. So if that is the case, in order to uplift ourselves into the spiritual ladder, what we should be doing then? This sort of question popping up in my mind, because I firmly believe that up until now, the worshipping and the meditation, it would elevate my maybe soul to the at least not in this birth or in the upcoming births, to elevate my soul, to merge with the Paramatma. I should be doing the meditation, and whatever the possible way I should worship. And Swami is telling that here, all these things are mental excursions intended to please the mind. Then maybe it could be the contradiction to myself, or maybe there is something more than in this particular sentence, or it's maybe the literal meaning is maybe the literal wording is here, but the intended meaning is something else. So can we look at this sentence, what it really means to us? Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, sister. It's a good question. Sister Aruna, you have a question too, or you have something to say?
I was about to ask the same thing, but after Anandi was describing about that, now I think that is something Swami has given us to reach to that level of feeling that God is in you and you are in God, kind of. So all those practices that we are doing, this is my understanding. We are doing all these Vedas, Stotram, everything is to please the mind and to see the God. That's the way I understand on this. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
So, Sairam brother, so last time we were talked about that one. We have the form. So, in order to pray, we need a form to pray, whatever the form you like. God is everywhere. So that's what we have different gods. We are praying according to that one. So once you reach to the level, once we control the mind, that God and me, that me are one that level, then the mind is not there. But before that, we need all the forms to concentrate in order to achieve the goal. Thank you, Sairam brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share, please?
Sairam, this paragraph is totally about Advaitic principle, but Baba is always advocating to understand this unity behind the diversity, and more attention could be given to the inquiry and know that we are in God and God is in us, and God and I are one. So when we could, because we might be spending so much time in meditation and worship and other things, but spiritually we may not be advancing. So Baba is telling directly, so know and believe that you are Atma. There is no difference between you and me, and know that, understand that, believe in that, and act. But in the way that believe you are Atman and act. If you spend that, oh, meditation will give me enlightenment, that could be a wrong notion. So even the Sister Anandi's sentence, and if we continue to read, God is described as father, mother, brother, friend, and so on. But all these are unnecessary epithets, but unnecessary words. If it is recognized that we and God are one, so if we think that if we Atma, which is Bhagavan saying again and again, at least mentally they understand first there's only one existing, and so that could be the basis for our development, mental understanding that there's only one. So if we see that there's only one, how can you say God is father, mother, brother, and friend, and so on? So Baba is trying to elevate us that spending too much time in these spiritual exercises, thinking that God is separate and I am separate, that is not going to work. Know that both are one, there's only one, then whatever that you try to do that, then the meditation will be more meaningful, and there will be an advancement in the path. And don't say that, oh, God is father, mother, brother. Say that God is one, friend. So the one, feel that one. So it is something like that, very advanced setup. But Baba wants this one, everybody to understand. We are Atma. There's no difference. We are God. Again and again, Baba is saying this one. So that is what Baba is trying to say in this paragraph. So it is up to us to take up this or continue with the old practices. That is left to us. That is we have to decide. That's what my small understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Om Sai Ram, I'm Santosh here. I just wanted to say that we all think that God is one and He's within us, and we are God and we don't need to focus on anything because we are also God. But we do not practice anything what God really practiced. When we say we are one, that way Swami doesn't say that I comes into it. And we all human beings thinking we are God, but we use every day 100 times I and me. So to practice that, to respect God, to listen to what He is, if you want to be equal to God like that, then you have to do this meditation and relationship with Him, and your conscious. You should always use your conscious all the time. You stand by God, because God, if you are God, we are okay, then we can do anything. No, it has to be that we have to practice what God does, and we don't, then we are not one. That's my small comment. So meditation and yoga and bhakti. Bhakti is one thing, like Radha did bhakti for Krishna. She took him as a husband. So we all think, oh my God, she was like, as a husband, she took him she never related anything else, because she was told at the age of 5 that Krishna is your bridegroom, because she asked mother, what is this wedding going on? So she took it seriously, and she prayed for him, and she took the bhakti. So she finally merged with him. So if we say God is one, we keep on saying verbally, but do we really do practice in doing so, that what God is? Are we God? Are we the same? There's a way to find out, and these are the methodologically things, meditation, yoga, bhakti, or chanting, or whatever it is. So every day we have to remind that also, that if we are God, then we should behave like Swami. We don't reach that level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share your thought, please?
Sai Ram,
Yes.
in this paragraph, this is what I understood. From the form, we start with the form, praying to forms, and then we have to start gradually move to formless praying. So to keep the mind busy without wandering around, we do the sadhanas, the meditation, everything to keep the mind under control, and the mind is busy with those aspects. But when we are ready, we slowly come out of it and go into formless, and then by that time the mind merges with the Atma, and the formless and the Atma can unite together, merge together. This is practiced by Jodi meditation too, Baba's Jodi meditation too. So I just wanted to clarify that one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Anyone else would like to share your thought, please?
If I could just ask a question, in that sentence where it says, you cannot aspire for the spiritual from a narrow point of view. So what is that narrow point of view that Swami is referring to?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sairam, anyone would like to share your thoughts on this question or the previous question also, I guess? What do we think is a narrow point of view?
Sir, so you're asking about narrow point of view?
Yes.
All right. So a narrow point of view is basically like it has to be the opinion that is like it is different. Like in terms like it's you're having a narrow vision, a narrow thought about what you're trying to say, what you're trying to get out. Like in terms of opinions. It's a small.
Okay, thank you, Shivabala. Anyone else would like to share a thought, please? Okay, maybe I will share some things. But someone wanted to say something.
No, what I get it from the narrow point of view is,
Yes.
We think that we are doing meditation and sadhanas like puja and everything. We think we have done. That's in the mental satisfaction. What we are thinking about is the I think really meant by the narrow point of view. Only that we are trying to please ourselves with our prayer. That's what my understanding is. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Thank you.
Om Sairam. The other point
Yes.
I wanted to raise is that God is described as father, mother, brother, friend, and so on. Even that is very necessary. Our love is very different with each relationship. Our friend is a different love, husband is a different love, mother is a different love, mother and child. And all that, what he's summing up in a subtle way, that all these relations are loved in a different manner, but the divine love is one. So it sums up all the relation, the worldly relation, into one divine love. So that is why we give a shape to, instead of explaining what is divine love, is that it sums it all the loves we have in a practical life. Thank you, Saina.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Anyone else? And maybe I'll just share some thoughts. I don't know if Sister Ananti is satisfied with all the answers. I am sure many of them touched various points. So I will just try my side of my understanding. I think first I will answer Sister Kalyani's question. Swami is the second sentence is actually juxtaposing the first sentence. Swami wants us to develop a universal outlook. And Swami, you cannot aspire for spiritual from a narrow point of view. So he's basically saying everyone should have a universal outlook. And then you cannot aspire in spirituality with a narrow point. So, and then from what I understand, he's going on to explain that. All forms of worship and meditation, which are regarded as spiritual exercise, are in fact. So what he says is every individual sadhaka thinks that we are doing sadhana, I am doing sadhana. And why I am doing, so the question that I am doing sadhana itself, Swami would say, is a narrow concept. It's not that it's bad. Okay, I think that's just Santosha's nicely explained. It is essential, but that is not everything. I think that's what Swami is saying from these statements. The thing is, we have to start, whether it's a form worship or even if it goes into formless, we should, the day we realize that the entire world is, we are part of that, not necessarily to our family, to the people who we think are related to us. Until we break away from those limitations, we are thinking narrowly. That's why we should understand that sannyasis, people who take sannyasa, they are not running away from home. Actually, they are deciding now from today onwards, the entire world is my family. The entire world is my home. That is the state. That should be the real state of sannyasa, where you are now, for you, the home in which you are born and the people with whom you are lived are no different than anyone on the street. So if they feel the pain of anyone on the street as the same as they would feel someone in the family. So that is the expanded consciousness. So that's why Swami, and the thing is, these practices, as Swami says, mental excursions, because there are two things in spirituality. One is the mind should settle down and there should not be any thought. Only then we can see the divine. So there are exercises which one has to do to make sure that our mind is at peace. Swami basically talked about this earlier on also. I don't know whether you all recollect. A few paragraphs earlier, I think we discussed about, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Swami talked about samadhi. He says samadhi, the way people think today, can be a weakness, or it can be even a fit person is suffering from, or an emotional state, and they are not necessarily samadhi, because suddenly, while bhajan is going on, suddenly people swoon or they start talking and they think that they are God and all that. Swami says it's all mental imagination. Because and people, others also around will say that person is in samadhi. Swami already touched this. Swami says samadhi is a state of equanimity under all circumstances. So to achieve that samadhi state, not to be agitated by either physical changes or emotional changes or mental changes, all these forms of worship are necessary. But we should understand that these are all practices only to settle the mind to reach a state of samadhi state. The people try various paths to do that. But ultimately, once we achieve that, then only we can see the universal. Because until the mind is agitated. So these are necessary, but Swami says we should understand that their effect is only limited. And same thing with God as Father. Because if I say Swami is my father, because I love my father very much, so then I think Swami is father. I may say he is my friend because I love a human friend. So basically we are taking the same love and pointing towards the Lord. Swami says that's okay, and we should start somewhere, because it's a worldly form of love which we have now attributed to the divine, and we have to start in that place. But he says from that you have to move on and on and on until you think, no, we are not different. See, the Swami is, I think brothers Sivadas has already mentioned, Swami wants us to strive towards the state where we become one with the divine. And I think Sister Santosh has nicely said, we should not just imagine that we are one with the Lord. We have to express divinity in our thoughts, words, and actions. And we should behave the way Swami would behave in every situation. And that's the process for us to become one with God. So these are necessary, but we should not be satisfied or be complacent with whatever we are doing, thinking, or we are doing sadhana. Because the test is whether we are reached the state of samadhi, or whether we are always in a state of equanimity. I think Swami, that's the strain, that is the underlying theme of what Swami has been saying. And Swami wants us to realize that we are not the body, we are the Atman, and that Atman is a spark of the divine, and express that quality in every word, thought, and action in ours. That's my understanding. Again, it's a very academic understanding only, but I thought I will share. If anyone else has something to add, please go ahead.
I just want to point out only one thing. This is all good. We understand, but I think there's only one problem, that when we practice this non-dual concept, it's fine to practice within us, but when we tell others or when we try to, we follow this kind of thing, this philosophy to others might, as a sister pointed out earlier, it's until and unless we have reached that level, it will look, I don't know how others will think. It's very kind of, how can, when we are just still in a human level, we say we are following this. Within us, it's fine. We are trying to develop that kind of thing. But we have to be very careful to express that to others. I thought I should point out that. Thank you, Siren.
Very good point, brother. Very good point. I think that's very true, because the time, as soon as we make a statement, I am one with God, we are not. It's like, anyone's declaring that I am asleep. If they're declaring that they are asleep, they are not asleep. So I don't think it is to be expressed, as you rightly pointed out. It is, again, as Sister Santosh said, we have to just focus on expressing divinity in our thought, word, and action, and then the rest takes care. You very, very rightly pointed out. Thank you very much.
Sairam, it's a very nice explanation. And also I thought usually the many people or the many swamis, they always say, I am God, or they would say, you are God. In this one, particularly Swami said, we and God are one. Swami would have told that you and God are one. Instead of, maybe it's like, rather than saying you, Swami would have indicated we. Is that because I was wondering, most of maybe there are many different Swamis in many different sectors. Normally, either they would say, I am God. Some Swamis, they would say, you are God. And in this one, Swami said, even Swami didn't say you and God are one. Swami said, we and God are one. So maybe the Swami collectively said, maybe rather than saying you and God are one, instead Swami collectively said, we and God are one. This is really not a question. Just when I look at the title, I thought it's slightly different though. Normally I and God or you and God are one. In this one, Swami said we and God are one. Maybe just to insist, maybe as a one person reaching something, I just want to, maybe in my mind, it thought, if you, at this COVID time or the pandemic time, if you want to be happy, all others should be happy. If you want to be healthy, all others should be healthy. If others should be healthy, then only you would be healthy. Maybe Swami would have said that. Just alone, you and God, it's really hard. Maybe collectively, if you think that we and God are one, then only your perspective regarding the others, also it would be in the synchronized motion. Maybe that may be the reason, that could be the reason, but I thought it's very interesting to see we and God are one. Thank you, Saira.
Om Saira, one little point. If you remember in 60s, there was a Shankar cartoonist who went to Swami, who didn't believe in Swami, and he said, "You say you're God." The Swami said, "I am God, and so are you." He said, "Well, we are all God, then why are you here? What are you?" Then he said, "I have realized it, you have not." He said, Swami said, "You didn't complete my sentence. You just said, I'm God, so are you God." That's it. He said, "No, further than that is, I have realized, you have not." So to reach that level that Swami is God, we have to do all kinds of, we have to find a guru, which is not easy. For Paramahansa Yogananda went to mountains and other places, and in his own town, he went to at least 15, 16 to find a guru, who he could put on the right path of to be one with God. So we have to realize that that's what Swami's message is. He has done it, we haven't done it, so we have to find ways to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to point out? Sister Ananti did not want to lose the most important piece here, I guess, on this paragraph. Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share something, please?
Brother, the we is referred to the God in everyone too? Just my thinking. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Anyone would like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, Sairam, that is a very good point. Sister Aruna and Sister Anandi both are echoing the same point. And it is very important that, as Sister Anandi pointed out, the word we is very crucial here, so that not everybody is one. Everybody is Atma. So don't say that I am God. So say everybody is God. Feel that, know that principle is one, truth is one. And Baba again and again said, Ekokam Bahusyam. So he has repeated several times. So the real the belief, let us believe first what Baba is saying there. Baba is saying there is no two, there is only one. Know that first, then practice. Then practice. You do meditation, you do anything, but keep that underlying principle in mind. So everybody is one and only one. So we is very important. Even I am sorry to quote, even Ramana Maharshi always refer we, because everyone is one. So first we know that is intellectually know that, then do the practices, meditation, japa, service, everything, practice. Then only that we'll really get what that meditation means. And if I think God is separate and I am separate and then meditate, how can I go into unite? So let us have the basic understanding first and do anything, everything. Baba has said many things in everywhere. He said meditation, so many meditation, so many things Baba said. But here in this context, Baba wanted to tell, like elsewhere, please know that there's only one existing. So unless we don't feel that understand mentally, then the division. Oh, that this caste, that caste, lady, this lady, Christian, Muslim, Pakistan, Indian, so long, everything will crop up. So that's why Bhagavan is again and again in this study circle, English study circle, again and again. Bhagavan saying, one, there's only one. Know that and do the practices. So as sisters pointed out, we means God in us. God in us and God are one. So that is my understanding. But I am saying this because the effort that Baba is trying to give, we are unable to get it. That's the thing, no? So that's sorry. Sorry, this is my basic small understanding, but everybody has to improve. That no doubt. No one has realized God, but Baba is saying this one. Thank you, sir.
So, Swayam brother, I think a lot of people have doubts. That is obviously I can understand the self-realization that we are divine sparkle. First, we have to understand what is the restriction to understand that one. First is mind, desire, ego, thinking, and the body. How can we control this kind of thing? So we need a guru. Guru himself who has got self-realization. We have to find the guru, something like that. Now we can get a guru. Normal world we can get a teacher or somebody for the money, but not in the spiritual world. So in Krita age, we have to do the meditation. The other one, Treta age, sacrifice. Treta and Dwaraka age, I think we have to do the worship. Kali age is a simple thing. Simple sadhana you can do, that's a Namasvarnam. In all the age, they have mentioned about the Namasvarnam, but people don't want to do that one. That is the main problems here. So, simple sadhana means namasvaranam, singing, glory of God, hearing stories, participating in study circle, and at least practice one mala for a day. Then you can control your mind. And how many people are doing that one is very rare. So you have to sit in one place, at least do 108 bits. How many people are prepared to do that one? If you don't do that kind of sadhana, while we are talking and getting knowledge, reading books, that is not going to help us. You have to do in practice. So everyone has a power, you have to understand that one. We study hard and we get some certification. It could be any titles, or someone work hard, sports, some achieve some level. Someone work hard and become a businessman or politician. Or someone work hard with the talent, he can be a bad person too. That also you have to study hard for that too. If you take a Kaufman, how he learned, with how he he spent a lot of time. He went to the, I think his name is Parasurama Guru. Then he went there, he told that I want to learn archery. And he said, okay, before you learning, I wanted to know your Kotra. What is your Kotra? What is your father's name? He doesn't know nothing. Then Guru said, okay, go and find out your mother and come. So he went to the mother. Mother said, I don't know. Then he came and told to the Guru, okay, my mother doesn't know. Then the person who talk truth is a Brahmin. Then because he doesn't like the other Kotras, and then he told, you should be a Brahmin. Okay, I'm going to teach you all the techniques and everything. So he gave 600 cows, I think. He asked to go to the jungle and make it 1,000 and come. Then he took all the 600 cows, but he was thinking, why he asked me to go to the jungle? Then there should be some reason. He started to learn everything from the nature. What is a tree? From the tree, you look at the tree, how it doesn't have an ego. When you grow up, so many advantages you are getting from that one. Even if it has fruits, even it will bend down and give you more fruits. And it will bend down. It doesn't have the ego. You cut it, and after death also you can use it. But human bodies are not like that. So then I can talk about other one too, and that birds. How they are building their nets. Even some birds, they build their nets underneath the upside down. It's all hard working. So time. So okay. Now I'm coming back to Karna. Time passed, and he forgot about. And now the cow increased to 1,000, but he forgot to go to the Guru. Now the Guru came and looked at the cows, and more than 1,000. He told, okay, Karna, come, I'll teach you now. So that's the way he learned everything. If you look at the Valmiki, his name is Ratnakara. Everyone knows about the story. He worked hard, only the Namasvarna, he ended up with writing the Ramayanam story. So if you don't control the mind, you are not going to achieve anything, especially ego, desire. it is not going to, it is look like you're throwing the seeds that the soil is soaked in and lots of weeds there. So once you started your homework, at least mala, you will some experience. You have to do mala at least 108 bits. I don't know how many people are going to believe that in sit in one place started to do the meditation. You may have some questions. So Namaswarnam should done all the time. This is the time Guru will send someone or object or some experience you will get according to your devotion. Two important things you have to develop. You need to have connection with the God. You need love from both sides. What is the connection with God? Because sometimes, brother, I may take a little bit of longer time. He said, okay, I can continue.
I think I don't know, I'll ask others if, I think your point is already clear, I think, brother.
Yeah.
You have basically said that we have
takes
to.
some time. I'm going to stop that one because we can continue later.
We can take this up as a separate topic by itself. Because some of the things which you're saying are not in front of people. So, then it's good to have the material in front of them. But I think your point is valid and that we have to make effort.
Yes,
and
brother.
I will go back to Sister Ananti's question. I think Sister Ananti's question was, did Swami say, why did he say we and God are one? I think it's very, very important point, sister. So I'm reminded of something. Maybe now I am going to take a little more time. I hope it's okay. See, the Swami always addresses everyone whenever in a discourse as Divya Atma Swarupalara or Prema Swarupalara, which is you are the embodiments of divine Atma, or you are the embodiment of divine love. This is the way he addresses every talk of his. So people may think, oh, he just the way we say, brothers and sisters of Sahil family or something like that. We say, but do we really mean it is another thing. So I think the question is, does Swami also, is he saying so that we will get a particular understanding? My understanding is that Swami means it. And so there is a small anecdote which is described by someone called Mr. Ramana Rao. He has written a book. So I will just, I think this anecdote has been even mentioned in the radio side. See, this person, Mr. Ramana Rao, was from the state of Andhra Pradesh. He was a Seva coordinator, then he was also a state president for some time. He had the blessing of following Swami whenever Swami goes around during darshan rounds. So because of that, he used to go inside Swami's room also before Swami comes out, and he will spend some time with Swami, and then he follows Swami. It so happened, apparently, after several decades of this, one day Swami was having very high fever. And so that day, Mr. Ramana Rao told Swami, today why don't you take rest, don't go for darshan. And then Swami basically said, how can I not go for darshan? I have to go for darshan. Because there are so many devotees who have come. Then he said, Swami, it's okay. One day, they can wait. So this is what he basically told Swami. Then Swami had asked him, why do I go for darshan? So then he said, Swami, because you go for darshan because there are so many people who come from so many places, very far, traveling a lot of long distances. So you don't want them to be disappointed. So you want them to see you. Okay, so this was the explanation given. He said, you have been with me for so many decades. Okay, absolutely no use, and you don't understand the simple principle. The reason I am going there is not for them to look at me. I am going to have the darshan of every single Jivatma or Atman which has come. So just the way they are eager to look at me, I am also eager to look at them. That's why I am going out. Because all of us should look at everyone else as divine. So Swami said he was actually going around. He says, I don't sit in one place and ask people to come and look at me. I go to them, I walk. I don't want to sit in one place. I want to walk around and see them. Because there is divine Atman there, and it's such a joy for me to recognize the divinity in every single person who I see. So this is what he told, and this has been recorded by Professor Amarada. So that is why Swami does not, we may put him on a pedestal because Swami, of course, is guiding us. Because he's, as Sister Santosh said, Swami has told that statement, I have realized you have not realized. Many people think Sai Baba is calling himself God. They don't even understand what Swami said, because he said, everyone is divine. I am also divine. You are divine. I have realized that I am divine. And I am able to evince those qualities. You also should do that. That was his purpose of coming down. So that is why he has used the word we and God are one. Because we is God, God is also we. Ekoham Bahushyam, Swami says that one has become many. We should realize that, and that's the universal outlook Swami wants us to have. And that's the not so narrow look Swami wants us to have. That I will stop here. Sorry about taking such a long time. But if anyone has something to say, please say so.
Sairam, another point I wanted to say, we all say Atma. Any Jeev, any Brahman manifestation has Atma. It's like a class. We are in grade 10. There are 12 people in the class. There is one scores 99% and one scores, the last one scores is 40%, 50, 60, 70. So the Atma is no shape, no form, no. It's a silent observer. It observes everybody, their karma, their behavior, and keeps an account. That's how we believe in reincarnation. So Atma, we all have it, but it's a different level how we treat our Atma, how we behave our conduct, how our conduct is on a daily basis. That's where we need intervention of Swamis and Gurus, so that we learn how to get to the 99.9%, if not 100%, that next our Jeev, whenever we have, the Atma will have its own account to give it to before we are born again. So Atma we all have, but it's different. A prisoner commits a suicide, murder, and he also has an Atma. But all we can do is that because we think God is one, we have God in him, God in me. But the only thing we can only pray to Swami, please give him sense. Maybe he also should come around and look after this Atma as much as. But we cannot say that, oh, it's okay because he has an Atma, he'll have his account and everything. We should pray for the prisoner also, the murderer also, that, okay, hey Swami, please help him also as much we would like to help ourselves. So Atma is okay, but it doesn't mean that if somebody slaps you for no reason and you say, well, okay, let it be, then I will not do anything. So you have to use your own Atma to pray for the other Atma that it should be equal to me. Thank you. I don't know, my words were not very explanatory, but that's how my feeling was there.
Thank you very much, Sister.
Even Swami also said, I'm sorry, brother.
Yes, please go ahead.
Even Swami also said, we all divine sparkles. So we all same. Thank you, brother.
Sister, Sister Santosh, I will just one small observation. You made the statement, we have Atma. We are Atman. I think we should think. This is my personal view. That's what Swami says. We are not the body. We are the Atman. It's just that we are forgetting that we are the Atman. If a murderer is doing something wrong, it is because he has forgotten that Atma has forgotten that it is Atma. So Swami wants us to realize that we are nothing but Atma. I think that's what he is trying to tell us. This is my observation. Sorry about it. Anyone else would like to add something, please?
I have a question, I don't know, Arun. That is, this we and God are one. Does it relate to Sayujyam, the 4 stages of realization?
Yes, Auntie. I think Swami, so I don't know if the others have something to say because they are addressed to me. I will just say, Swami always says we should travel from the state of I to we, from we to God. I think this is what Swami always says. We have to expand ourselves from this concept of I to a concept of we. That is, we should all encompass this entire world. Without that, we really can't merge with the Lord. Only when we are merging with the Lord, as you said, you are rightly said, the Savidyam only. It is complete merger, complete identification with the world as divine is that ultimate merger from what I understand. Others can point out as well. Saira.
Thank you, Arno.
Saira. I don't know, it's 4:36. If there's no other comment, maybe we'll just read the next paragraph, Sister Kalyani. And I think everyone can contemplate.
Students, spirituality essentially means realizing oneness with God. God and you are not separate. Once you acquire this conviction, there is no need for any kind of spiritual sadhana. This oneness should not be a mere intellectual concept. It should be a living reality. Then you will experience true freedom, the freedom of the spirit, divorced from any association with the body and the mind. When you experience your inherent divinity, you will be free from sorrows and difficulties.
Thank you very much, Sister. So, we started with this concept of freedom, free will, whatever we will should happen. And Swami is showing us the way, how we can attain that state of freedom where whatever we will is actually free from anything. And as we have, I think some of these concepts we have already discussed, Swami does not want this understanding to be only an intellectual concept, but he wants us to experientially experience it in our life. And I think it should be a real experience, a living reality, as Swami says. Swami has also said it should be divorced from body and mind. We should neither identify with the body nor should we identify with the mind. I think that's what Swami has said. Until then, see, Swami says once you acquire this conviction, there is no need for any kind of spiritual sadhana. When we attain that state, then we may not need a spiritual sadhana. So Swami has again stated so that we don't get confused that spiritual sadhana is not needed. It is needed until we reach it, and when we reach it, whether we pursue the sadhana or not doesn't really matter, I guess. So I think many participants have already expressed their thoughts about this. I will stop here and open it for any other comments from any one of you here. Thanks. Sai.
Sairam brother, here what my thinking is at the end, when you have detached from all these things, divorced from your mind and body, then only you are realizing your freedom. That is the time you don't care about your freedom. You are already there. So you won't realize the freedom. It's one of the things to even to think about it. Just my thought. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Thank you. Thank you. That's, Swami has already, I think, one of the paragraphs, I think, third or fourth or fifth paragraph, I think, Swami basically says the concept of freedom or bondage only exists as long as we identify with the body or mind. Once we don't identify with the body or mind, this concept of freedom itself doesn't exist. As you rightly pointed out. Thank you, Sai. It's about 4:40. I don't know whether we should read next paragraph or not. I think this is basically a summary of whatever we have read and discussed so far. Maybe we'll just read one more paragraph, Sister Kalyani.
Students, you may not be aware that the divine is changeless and unaffected by sorrow. Whether you believe it or not, the truth is, I do not know what is grief. Worry is totally alien to me. I am not aware of any difficulties, disparagements, or pressures caused by others. You should remain unaffected by what others say or do. When someone comes and tells me, Swami, I am suffering greatly, reply, Chala Santosham, very happy. I am always happy. When someone tells me about the death of a near relation, I say the same thing. I am equal in my response to everything. When people lament about their sufferings, I often wonder what suffering means. It does not approach me.
Sairam, everyone. Swami says how to cultivate this concept of freedom and free will. He says again, we talked about samadhi, not affected by anything in this world, that equanimity. That is what Swami wants us to attain. And that is real identification with the divine. That is freedom. That is free will. That's liberation. That's sayujyam. Whatever concepts we have talked, I think Swami basically says that's what it's all about. And when we reach that point, then we have really identified ourselves with the divine. So I stop here. If there are any comments from any of the participants, please.
Can I just ask a question about the previous paragraph? Swami says once you acquire this conviction, there's no need for any kind of spiritual sadhana. So is Swami saying that we should just have the conviction? So if we have that belief, he's not saying that we necessarily have to be there, or is he? Or is he saying that we necessarily have to be completely realized? Or is he saying as long as we have that conviction, that belief that we are God, then we don't really need spiritual sadhana?
So, so I don't know, others, maybe I will ask others to share, and then I will share what I can.
But in the following sentence, Baba categorically saying that it must be experience. That's the thing. So the conviction, Baba said conviction. That's a strong word actually. Actually, we don't know in Telugu what the word was used there. But as Kalyani said, it is a conviction. But Baba again then said, the oneness should not be a mere intellectual concept. So it should be heart. It's the not the mind. It heart to heart. It should emanate from heart. So when we see through heart that everything is one, that means that we are on the right path. But it is merely like a math, understanding a math principle. It is not enough. That's what Bhagavan himself has said it. It should be a living reality. So that there's a lot of room for us to go to that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. Sairam sister, the only, as brother has already explained, because many times we think of belief is conviction. We have faith, we believe in Swami, or we have faith. Conviction is an unperturbed faith, is what I understand. We don't have any doubts. That kind of conviction is actually living practice. Because, for example, we say Swami is everywhere. That's we believe. But if you're convict, we don't have the strong conviction, then we will see him everywhere. I think that's what Swami says. We will not have any doubts. So I think conviction is more than just a comprehension of an idea. I think that's what Swami says. I think brother has and as far as brother Siddha said, Swami has elaborated further so that we understand what he means. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next, I think the paragraph we read, can we go there? Yeah, so Swami has spoken about what is what is Samadhi state, what is the real state, Swami has already said. So I think we can, pause here because there's nothing more for me to say. I think everyone sort of understands it, and it's something for everyone to think that the state of being unaffected, it's a state of equanimity, not being affected by anything which happens to us around this world, in this world, whether it's for us or even people around us. It should not affect. In both cases, I think that's what Swami has said. If somebody tells, also he doesn't understand why are they feeling sad. Even if somebody dies, don't feel that bad. It has happened. I think that's the way Swami takes it. In his own life, he has always shown that, demonstrated it. So he wants us to strive towards that state. We will not be affected by anything once we realize everything in this world is divine. We will not say no one can take advantage of us, or all that comes in only when we are not convinced. And I think that's what Swami wants us to say. But if there are things in the worldly sense we have to do, just do them without being affected by it. And I think that's what Swami wants us to practice. It's about 4:50. We will pause here. We can actually start from this paragraph next week. As all of you know that we will be completing this discourse pretty soon. We had requested people to give suggestions. There are a couple of suggestions which have come. We are sort of leaning on taking up another Vahini because they are pretty intense for us to study, and I think it's a good way to study. So that is that's what we're thinking of. There were lots of requests to have an open forum question and answer session. It's a free format because I think there are many things people may be interested. So we are even thinking of having a session of just open question and answer session, because based on those questions, we may be able to choose a topic. Because even if people have questions, there may be not too many answers. But we are trying to make sure that it's done in an orderly manner, so that because otherwise things can just go off everywhere. We will avoid that. So what we are planning to do is 2 weeks from now, maybe next Sunday, we will again take this up. Maybe we'll complete this course next week. The following week, we are hoping to have an open question and answer session. We may not have all the answers, but the questions can be posed. If there are answers which can be delivered in a concise manner, we will take them up. That's what we are hoping to do. I hope it goes well. And then we will continue with Vahini. If anyone has any other ideas, please forward it to us. You can give us a call or send a text message or email back to our regional team's email address, and we will consider it. With those thoughts, I thought we'll close it for this week, today, study circle. Is there anything, Sister Kalyani? Okay, so that's fine. So we'll close with Samastaloka and Shanti. Actually, one of the things which we felt was, if people turn on their video cameras, the interactions would be a bit more personal. And so I don't know if you're up to it, please turn on your videos at the next sessions. So that way there's a bit more interaction, even though we don't get to personally meet everyone. Sometimes it's good to even see online each other, and there is some better communication we felt. Those are just, we are not forcing everyone to turn it on, but it's a request if it's possible and if you're comfortable to turn on your cameras. Saira. We'll close with Samastaloka and Shanti. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः